All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. Now, resiliency was the name of the game last night for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as after going back and forth with the New Orleans Saints during the first three quarters of their NFC divisional playoff meeting, they were able to dominate the fourth quarter en route to the 30-20 victory. Now, looking inside of this contest, the Bucs defense really stepped up as they forced 4 Saints turnovers, which included 3 interceptions from quarterback Drew Brees. Linebacker Devin White played the best game of his young NFL career, 11 tackles and an interception of Brees in this contest. And if you looked at this game, White was all over the field in coverage as well as playing the run along with rushing the passer. The Bucs defense, and this is a credit to their defensive coordinator, Todd Bowles, they took away the Saints' deep pass, and more importantly, they did not allow running back Alvin Kamara to beat them as a receiver. And if you looked inside of this contest, Kamara did have a solid running game, but every time that Alvin Kamara was in space, whether it was in a run formation or a passing formation, there were multiple white jerseys going where he was going. Now, offensively, the Bucs did what they needed to do, and I've been saying it all season long. Tampa Bay needed to focus more on running the football, and that's what we saw last night. Now, neither Ronald Jones or Leonard Fournette gained 100 yards apiece, but they did combine for more than 100 yards. Those carries, they really affected the Saints defense. And then on top of that, it was a situation, it allowed the Bucs to be able to control the clock, keep their defense fresh as they were sitting on the sidelines. And that, really helped their cause. Why? Because a fresh defense allowed the Bucs to really focus on rushing the passer with just their front four. Periodically, Todd Bowles would call for a blitz, but it wasn't something where he had to consistently do in this contest. And by not having the blitz, it allowed his secondary to go back there and have their way with the passes of Drew Brees. You look in this contest, Bucs veteran quarterback Tom Brady did not have a big passing game. It was a balance between the run and pass for Tampa in this contest. Then on top of that, Tom Brady was just smart with the football. He did have some throws where, the Saints did have an opportunity to make to get an interception. Of course, that was not the case. He wasn't sharp throughout the game. He did miss some throws. His receivers did drop some passes. You go back and look just before the first half ended when wide receiver Chris Godwin did have an opportunity to make a touchdown grab, and he could not hold it to secure the play. You also look at the fourth quarter, and it's one of those things that Brady is 43, but when the chips were pushed to the middle of the table in the fourth quarter, Tom Brady made all the big throws. And that is something that, has been a hallmark for his entire NFL career as he steps up when the game is on the line, made some big throws for Tampa Bay. Of course, their defense, really helped them out in this contest. Even like when they were down 20-13, it looked like the Saints were about to go in and get at least 3 more points. And of course, the Jared Cook fumble, that was huge. Tampa Bay was able to capitalize, go right down the field and score a touchdown. And then, after that, it was off to the races for this offense. They had plenty of momentum and confidence. And of course, this defense, their confidence kept growing throughout this game. Credit to Bucs head coach Bruce Arians, because he had his team ready to play. And I said it coming into this contest, and I will continue to say it. It is very difficult for one NFL team to beat another 3 times in a season. Yes, it can be done. We saw, just thinking off the top of my head, during the 1986 season, we saw the New York Giants beat Washington 3 times en route to winning the Super Bowl. We saw these same Saints beat the Carolina Panthers 3 times in a season several years ago. But it is very difficult to do because typically the team that loses makes more adjustments heading into the third contest, and especially the way that the Bucs lost their second meeting of the regular season at home at the hands of the Saints as they were dominated 38-3. It's one of those things, if you're Bruce Arians, to scrap that playbook, whatever game plan that you had for that one, and start fresh for this playoff matchup. And then, of course, the pride factor. You want to go out there and beat these guys who have constantly beat up on you all season long, and the Bucs were able to turn that tide last night, and a big kudos defensively for what they were able to do. Like I said, the Bucs were up for the challenge in this contest. They did not allow Breeze to get comfortable. I know that the Saints are dealing with injuries, but you know what? Tampa Bay pounced on that. They took advantage of that. They gave Brady and this offense a short field as much as possible by forcing those interceptions, and that was huge in this contest. It looks like it's the end of the line for Drew Brees. Of course, very rarely do we see it in pro sports where a player goes out at the top of his game. And that was not the case for Drew Brees. He's a 40-plus-year-old quarterback. The injuries are really affecting him. We saw the injuries that he sustained this season. And honestly, Drew Brees should not have been on the field. He could not make those passes. And the Bucs defensively basically dared him to beat them deep. And he could not throw the ball deep. It's one of those where, he's still going to be remembered as one of the greatest players in the franchise history of the Saints. He did a lot of good things for the Saints, but it just didn't finish that way. And, now, his Hall of Fame career has come to an end. Now, on the flip side for Tampa Bay, I know that historically they have not been a good team in the cold weather, as they must now make preparations to face the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship game. These two teams did meet earlier on in the regular season, and the Bucs dominated the Packers for the 38-10 win at home, and this was after the Packers scored the first 10 points of that contest. So you know that Green Bay is going to scrap that game plan. Aaron Rodgers, you still have to focus on him because he is a bad man with the quarterback with the football in his hands as a quarterback, whether it's throwing or running with the football. So, the Bucs have to be up for the challenge. I think they were really up for the challenge last night. I think it's a situation, not only the Bucs they had some pride and they didn't want to get, lose for the third time to the Saints this season, but also, the will of Tom Brady in the playoffs. And I keep telling people, love him or hate him, you don't bet against this guy in the playoffs. He simply finds a way to go out there and keep doing it. I know that he has not won a championship yet outside of the Patriots organization. Obviously, this is something that he is working on this season. But, you're seeing the will of him. He's still hungry. He's looking to get that 7th title. And in doing so, he's going to drive and push his teammates to levels that they didn't think that they could achieve. This Tampa team was ready for the challenge last night. They have to keep this momentum going for themselves. To me, it was probably the most complete game that I've seen from Tampa all season long, because I keep saying, this team could be so much better. They showed it. They showed that resiliency that is needed in the postseason. They showed that resiliency which is needed to win on the road in the playoffs. And because of that, they're moving on. So it's going to be a very interesting contest with the Bucs and Packers for the NFC Championship game. But don't write off this team right now. They've got their mojo, they've got their swagger, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will definitely be a tough out for the remainder of this postseason. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. I want to take this time out to thank all of the subscribers out there. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.